So we were discussing about how the ways or the methodology of even savings is changing. Like in terms of methodology, earlier the conventional methods were either you can keep like physical cash with yourself, or we used to deposit our money in the savings account. But now our focus is shift towards wealth creation. So even that also, first thing that we discussed was the passive mutual funds, mutual fund life light facility which is there. And here, so Gift City Financial Planning Standards Board is there, and we have the World Financial Planning Day, which is celebrated on 4th of October. So NRAs and global investors, that is from the perspective of again NRA deposits, it will form a part of the capital account under the balance of payment. So Indian investors, for the regulation, we have another FAMA Act is there, 1999. So Indian residents can invest in bonds issued by the banks or the by which are again foreign or domestic operations and global stocks. So it is not just limited to again only India. Okay, next up. So lesson for India in Japan's 80s credit bubble. So recently also यहाँ पे जैसे credit bubble की बात हो रही है particularly. So bank credit in India, it has been driven by the growth in personal loans. That's true in the simple methodology of banks business. Hence, it increasing households leverages. So when it comes to the economic backdrop of Japan, late 1980s appears broadly closer to the current India's context, because हम capital market में भी बात करते हैं whether again there's a bubble formation or not, specifically after the growth and the exponential scale of growth that we have seen after 2020. So we saw that there were again thrilling accents and sobering falls. मतलब जो rise हो रहा था, that was very sharp and corrections were small. So that was one of the indicators, and similar is the nature of growth when you're talking about the capital market in India right now. And then there were skyrocketing real estate prices, even that has been happening in India. So it is indicating ki, again, a similar kind of situation is being created in India or not. But again, at that point of time, we cannot say that this is only the sole basis of determining it, because other economic factors or the stability when it comes to even the banking sector stability, or when it comes to even the role of even the private sector investments in India. Or just now we talked about that the unemployment rate in India is one of the lowest, and then the role of monetary policy, how sharply and precisely we are focusing upon managing the inflationary pressures. So all of these things would be determining it, and not just only this. But again, we need to be cautious. So role of SEBI is important. Role of RBI is also important at the same time when it comes to managing the money supply in the economy. So Japan's asset bubble was based on overly optimistic expectations about the future. So this is somewhere we can say is reflected by India's capital market growth. But whether it is again when it we talk to again a normal consumer, a normal citizen of India, is he driven by this overly optimistic expectations is the thing. So consumer confidence and the different consumer surveys which are done is important. Okay, next. 3-point plan for higher recoveries under the IBC. So we've been talking about this again, IBC 2016 code. So we see that the gross non-performing asset ratio, banks, it has fallen to 12-year low of 2.8% at the end of previous financial year, from 11.2% in 2017-18. So this reflects one of the again the relevance of IBC in the current context. We have the debt recovery tribunals which are functioning, and whether it is again enforcement under the secure, which is the SARFAESI Act, securitization reconstruction of. Prerna, what are you doing? Under the SARFAESI Act. So when it comes to what more changes are needed in IBC for its effective functioning. So one is it is talking about avoidance transactions. So in avoidance transactions, we can improve the realization for creditors by reversing the avoidance transactions. So these are the preferential, undervalued, extortionate, or transactions that defraud the creditors. So on this basis, the success has been low. Then, secondly, it is talking about proceedings against personal guarantors. So here, the Supreme Court upholding the constitutional validity of the provisions is one thing. Is that it is another tool of recovery. So overall, like this is talking about specialized things which are important for the optional rather than the GS. Third is the delinking of resolutions from the disputes. So dealing with that solely is another thing, and timely basis that it need to be resolved within 180 days is important. And going beyond IBCs, we have talked about as it's synergetic working with the asset reconstruction companies is important when you're talking about even the focus upon the turnaround of the bad assets is important. That is, we're talking about firstly discovering that a particular or assessing that this asset might turn into NPA beforehand it gets into the NPA category. That is one thing that again we can use the red flagging when it comes to the financial indicators how that has been performing. So better regulation and then periodic reports on that basis can help us. So beyond IBC is also important. So while IBC's journey, it had many success stories. So 32% is the recovery, which is not a badge of honor at the same time. So recovery is only 32%. We see that more of the cases are it ends up into liquidation of assets. Okay, next topic. Steady rise of mushroom wellness. So, what is mushroom wellness? So, the wellness world is tapping into benefits of medicinal mushrooms like the reishi, the chaga. These are as capsules or used in coffees and more. So, like, there was one question again in prelims also, which was related to Gucci mushrooms. That is also one of the Himalayan species. So, mushrooms like reishi, shaga, lion mane, they are revered for their adaptogenic properties. So, help the body adapt to stress, restore the balance. So, from the perspective of mental health or even following a healthy lifestyle, so they're important. So mushrooms, they are fungi and they're provider of premium homegrown medicinal and the government mushrooms. So we are seeing different even like startups also coming up in this sector. So in addition to the health benefits of mushrooms, they're also lauded for their sustainability at the same time. So they are environment friendly choice because they require minimal resources to grow at the same time. Cognitive boost, steadily rising momentum of mushroom wellness combined with the curiosity among health enthusiasts. So that's important. And so these are like different body immunity boosters are being made through this. Then it comes to the debate over Ayurveda versus the modern science.
तो
So
इसमें क्वेश्चन उठ
Ayurveda,
रहे हैं सिर्फ और सिर्फ जो आप टैबलेट ले रहे हैं या फिर आप रेशी चागा कैप्सूल इट इज़ ऑल्टरनेटिव टू द हेल्दी डाइट और नॉट क्योंकि बहुत सारे जो कंपनीज हैं दे सेल देयर वेलनेस स्कीम कि आप ये टैबलेट ले लो उससे पूरा मल्टीविटामिन पूरा हो जाएगा आपका बॉडीली। तो कहीं न कहीं वो प्रोलिफरेशन बढ़ चुका है और अभी हाल-फिलहाल में सीडीसीएसओ ने हाइलाइट किया था अपार्ट फ्रॉम सेवरल मेडिसिन्स व्हिच वाज़ नॉट फॉलोइंग द स्टैंडर्ड एज़ सेट बाय सीडीसीएसओ ऑन द medicine, similarly for the different health and wellness companies.
okay, thank you everyone for joining us on Ansarkari. Stay tuned for further detailed discussions in the upcoming sessions.